organically understand how to do that because the skateboarding community is nearly impossible to reach for outside brands. And so just being somebody who's been, I've been part of the community, but the gaming community, but I've been even more so the skateboarding community growing up, being part of that niche subculture that wants to keep the space very pure. I've been marketed to by, countless companies as a skater and thought, that's whack, that's lame, why are you in my space? You have no place here. And
right.
So a lot of people find the esports and gaming ecosystem very difficult to market to because there is that skepticism. But because of my background, I naturally get it. And it's a lot easier than skating. And so I've been able to understand just kind of organically why and how to add value to gamers' lives, and then you'll be embraced if you do it in a way that matters to them.
Yeah, that's the nice way to say organic growth. I hear everybody in the industry saying organic growth, by the way, but
yeah, that's right.
But so like going into those roles, like even your PRG role at the moment, I'm curious, and I know you can't say too much about what you guys are working on, but I'm curious to see what is your take on, traditional sports and esports and the merger of that, and being able to reach everybody via technology. And I want you to answer that, but in the back of your mind, I want you to think about, I want to hear your take on esports, the mobile version, man, because we're living in a day and age now where everybody has cell phones, and I want to hear your take on that too.
Yeah. So your first question is about kind of how traditional sports and esports are working together, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm on a lot of calls with a lot of different traditional sports leagues and teams all the time, and obviously on the call with a lot of esports leagues and teams as well. And I think essentially what I see the reason for the rise in esports in the United States over the last 4 years, roughly, is really when it spiked like crazy, right? Is because you have traditional sports leagues and teams are seeing that young people are not attending their events and they're not watching their sports. And then you have brands who are trying to reach young people who are typically sponsoring traditional sports. And they're looking for the eyeballs, right? They're saying, what are young people watching? What are they doing? And the answer is video games. And now video gaming as a whole is a much bigger world than just esports. Esports is a microcosm of gaming as a whole. And so when you look at gaming as a whole, that's your non-competitive games. That's God of War, Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto, right? Like these massive games that are not competitive. And it's super difficult for brands to figure out how to market to youth who are playing those games. But with esports, I always say esports makes gaming sponsorable. And the reason I say that is because now that you have competition, now you have assets, sponsorable assets that are familiar to brands who have participated in sponsoring traditional sports, like teams, leagues, jerseys, in-venue, booths, right?
Right.
All those things. And so they see that and they say, I know this, I can sponsor this. Now, there's a lot more nuances as they figure out very quickly that it's not that simple. But when you talk about how traditional sports interact with esports, I think there's a common misconception among older executives that young people just want to do the virtual version of what old people do. And so, right?
Right.
And so it's like, oh, I like basketball, so you must love video game basketball. Oh, I like football, so to get kids to get into football, we have to, play video game football, Madden, right? And the way it turns out, there's some traditional sports who are just lucky that it translates really well. And then there's others who see that luck, like NASCAR has been pretty hot lately, eNASCAR through iRacing, and FIFA with EMLS. I think what they're doing is pretty good. But then you have others like the NBA 2K League, which struggles. You have MLG, just an MLB The Show League. I don't see that, being what takes hold. Madden NFL Championship Series, kind of in the middle there. And so this is my guidance to traditional sports. My guidance to traditional sports leagues is to leverage influencer marketing through your players who are naturally gamers. I live in Dallas, and I can tell you Luka Doncic is a big Fortnite player. He loves playing Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what influencer marketing is all about is relatability. Don't try to pull the community to you to get you to do what you want them to do. Go to the community in an organic way that's cool for them, that makes sense. That just if they were to glance, they'd be like, oh, that's cool. I get that. Go to the community and play in their space. And I'll tell you right now, if the Dallas Mavericks would enable, and if Luka was interested, of course, but if the Dallas Mavericks would enable Luka to play Fortnite, like with Team Envy or on some streams, on some competitions, etc., guess what's going to happen? Young people
Everybody's gonna do
are going to.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Well, the fan behavior is young kids are going to see him do it. They're going to say, hey, that's so cool that Luka plays a game that I love. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
at this event, I got to play against him, or I got to play duos with him. Guess what? That kid in Dallas who gets the chance to play and watch Luka play Fortnite, now he's going to be more interested to go to a Dallas Mavericks game and buy that ticket. Now he's going to be more interested to buy his jersey, and now he's going to become a fan through basketball. And the concern that I believe that traditional sports have with that is that enables the players' fandom and following over the team. Because if you can imagine if the Mavs were to trade Luka, those fans go with him. But here's my answer to that. My answer to that is in gaming, we know that fans follow players over teams. And that's just the reality. Sometimes you just have to accept a reality versus trying to twist people in doing what you want them to do. And so what I would tell to those traditional sports teams who are concerned about the fans following that player and leaving with him if he gets traded or free agency, I would say that's tough. Do it again with the next guy. And if you're doing it with multiple people, there's going to be enough crossover with the team that it's going to be worth it.
That was a wealth of knowledge, man. And if you don't mind, this is just, a question that I wanted to hear your take on, man, because you've been in this space for a long time. Let's hit that topic for about 3 minutes as far as the mobile esports scene. Where do you think it's going? Even like the activation of cell phones in the space in general. Yeah,
I think it's really interesting. Mobile esports is the fastest growing segment, and what that comes down to is accessibility. Consoles are expensive. I'm not sure what, PS5 and Xbox X Series is going to be priced at, but, those things are expensive, $400 or $500 typically. And so not every kid has access to a console, and fewer have access to a performance PC, right? You're spending thousands of dollars if you want to compete on PC. But what does every single kid in the world from age 13 on have in their pocket? They've got a phone, right?
Yeah.
They've got a cell phone. And so the fact that you can, play competitively, now obviously the level of which you're able to play at, there's some mobile pros who, it's unbelievable that they can play at that level on their phone. But there is, I think it's super cool to see esports lean into mobile gaming just because it lowers the barrier to entry for people to participate. And what's really interesting, too, from a demographic standpoint, is gaming as a whole, not just esports, but gaming as a whole. If you take away mobile, the demographics between male and female are about 70 male, 30% female. If you add in mobile, it's about 50-50. And
wow.
Now that's not all esports. Now that's counting like things like Candy Crush and games like that, right? That you may not be playing on a console. But what's cool about that is, like, I think it's great that, you know, females are starting to come into the space. And I think it's so important for us to, you can't be more diverse in the population, right? But what you can do is lean into behavior and enable people who are participating in a certain way to join you. And so I think that's great that that will be a byproduct of embracing mobile gaming, will be a better balance or a more equal balance of male and female.
That's awesome. And you got about 3 minutes left on the show, John, and it's been a pleasure, man. And, you know, I talked to a few people, man. They consider you a legend in the space, man. And I thank you for being I thank you for being open, man, to invite me in to the space, man, and coming on the show and blessing the show. And, you know, from the standpoint of, you know, actually starting a relationship and you know, just being there for any questions or concerns. If you want, man, this is your time to give your spiel. You know, let us know what you're up to, what's coming next, if you can, and you know, just go away, social media and all.
Sure. I would just say, you know, to follow me personally, LinkedIn and Twitter is where I'm at. So if you type in John Davidson PRG, I'll pop up on LinkedIn, and then Twitter it's at John Davidson, but it's zeros instead of O's, so at J0HNDAVIDS0N. And I would really appreciate if you guys also, you know, would follow the companies that I'm a part of. So PRG, Production Resource Group, you know, we are doing some amazing things. A lot of it's in the works right now because it takes a long time to develop this technology. But we're going to be doing some things that are really going to add value to the gaming community, from making events and broadcasts more engaging for fans, better for sponsors, and more enjoyable for players. So look up PRG, Production Resource Group. Also the Esports Trade Association, very proud of what we're doing there, helping to enhance the business practices of the gaming community to enable us to have more stable growth in our industry. So look up Esports Trade Association on all socials. We have a conference planned for September 21st and 22nd in Chicago, of course, if we are able to move forward with that, if it's safe. But put that on your calendar, and then also follow Dallas Influences in Sports and Entertainment and Stadia Ventures. So very thankful to be part of so many great organizations, and I just really love helping people. And so if there's anything I can help you with, you have a question, don't hesitate to reach out. It might take me a little while to get back because I got a few things. I got my hands full, but the intention is always to respond and to help if I can.
That's awesome, man. John, thanks again, man. And I have an idea. I'm gonna hit you up after this over with, man. I think we're gonna have you back on soon, if possible.
Right on, please do. I would love that. Thank you.
All right, awesome, man. Thank you.
All right.
This was another episode of Go Play Esports with Christopher Turner. Follow him on Twitter at Turner_CP.